Jerry has said, often repeated in the world of writing advice is how poorly written stories and bad techniques displeases readers. Examples of, quote, poor writing are cited in books for writers. How does this abundance of poor writing get past agents, editors, and publishers? In one example from a popular book on writing, there's a quote here. I picked up a book which had 8 characters introduced in the first chapter. I needed to refer back to that chapter repeatedly to remember who was who. My frustration led to abandoning that novel. End quote. How does this kind of thing get past so many gatekeepers? Maybe occasionally it will, but it seems to happen frequently. Okay, so I hear your frustration, Jerry. It's easy to find mistakes in books. It's easy to find things that, go against what you think is good writing or bad writing, or go against what you think is good writing. There's a couple things I want to speak to about your question. The first is there's no such thing as a wrong or right way. There's only our preferences. There's only reader preferences. And yes, there are some things that are more popular among readers than others. What I teach in Save the Cat is one way to write a novel. It's not the only way, but I found that it's a very popular way, so I taught it. I found that there was a pattern in a lot of stories, in most stories, and I taught it. Does it mean you have to write something like that? No, there's no rule. You can write whatever you want. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Writing is a very subjective activity. The second thing I want you to impart on you is it doesn't do you a lot of good to obsess over what gets past gatekeepers and what doesn't. It feels like focusing on that is not a very constructive way to think about writing. Because again, we can always find it, So instead, I would urge you to think about what you do want in your own writing. What kind of things do you want to avoid? If you want to avoid, introducing 8 characters at the beginning of your book, then that's what you should do. With all writing advice, you should take it or leave it. You should figure out if it works for you. You should figure out if it jives with you, if it makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, then you should leave it. But focusing on what's getting past these agents and these editors is it's a task that's not going to get you anywhere because we don't know what happened at that gate. We don't know what the agent was thinking at that day. We don't know what the relationship was. We don't know what the publishers were looking for in that moment. Publishing, the publishing industry, or at least the traditional publishing industry, is such a fickle beast that it's almost impossible to understand. And yes, having a well-told story makes it easier to get in, absolutely. But like you said, there are going to be stories that get through the gates and we can speculate all day long how that happened, but that doesn't really help us. Unless you want to prove that you can write a bad book and still get published, but what does that, how does that help you improve? I guess that would be my advice to you, is to focus less on what bad books are being published and focus more on what good books are being published. And by good, I mean the ones that you like and how those are working and how you can take lessons from those books and apply them to your own novels. So that would be my advice to that question. Hope that helps. Check the description for links to our blog, free writing tools, and more. Happy writing.